All right.
Daniel Cohen, she's wanting to.
Yeah, we're just trying to start it up. Yes.
Hello.
There she is.
Thank you.
There we go. Hello.
Lauren, hi Danielle, can you hear us?
Hi. So I'm going to close the door just for privacy.
Yep.
Yeah. Noise privacy, not anything else. Okay, I'll take a copy of the agenda. If anybody needs one too. Are we all? Can you hear Danielle and Lauren? Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Welcome. Great. Okay, so thanks for coming. I appreciate that. And we're going to try and make a better effort of getting more people engaged, but we appreciate your coming today. So we'll do our quick announcement, which is to protect our constituents, city officials, and city staff. The city is requesting all members of the public to follow the guidance of the California Department of Health Services and the Santa Clara County Health Officer's order to control the spread of COVID-19. This special meeting of the Educational Subcommittee will be conducted in person as well as telecommunication. It is compliant with the provisions of the Brown Act. And we have an agenda today, if you've had a chance to take a look at it. Good, okay. So we will call the meeting to order and see if there are any members of the public who would like to speak. And we see none. So we will move to the next portion of the meeting, which is new business. And the first item there is parental mental health support. And Danielle, this will be a good test to see how well the communications work. The library put together an excellent program on March 15th, along with, okay, you know about that, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't you?
I will actually let Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca,
put
okay,
that together for us.
So thank you for doing that. It was great. We'll have Rebecca describe it, and my understanding that it was distributed to all the schools.
I personally only had as many contacts as I have, so there were only a few districts that I was able to.
Well, the districts, you sent it to the districts.
Yeah.
And headquarters sent it out as well.
And headquarters, okay, so why don't you go ahead and say what you did,
Yes,
and
so
who it went to.
that program was held by an LMFT, and it was describing resources for parents on how to keep their own heads cool in order to parent more effectively. That was March 15th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And we had, if I remember correctly, 20 participants, something like that. A lot of participation from the Q&A section, a lot of parents emailing afterwards saying, please send me the resources and the presentation and the PowerPoint that we discussed. So that was a great program. And then we actually have another program tonight and another one tomorrow, held by the same local author. She wrote a book called Parenting with an Accent. And so the one that's tonight will be in person at Orchard City Banquet Hall. The one tomorrow will be on Zoom. So we're looking forward to that.
I haven't seen the announcements on the last two.
So that one, I gave it to my people. I don't know if headquarters sent that one out. I hope they did. But
I can say I read our weekly newsletters, and none of those have been in there, which is just a shame. It's a shame because the minute you get into a school newsletter, you've hit 2,500, 3,000 families.
So what can we do better?
I will tell you, Marla Sanchez is our public information officer in our district. I think all districts have them. I would be happy to, if you give me the footprint. I mean, I know that at least we have a West Side Alliance. So that's the high school district and the 5 feeder districts. For Campbell, there really are only the 2 districts that overlap. Maybe the 3rd, you might get a little bit of Union in there. But I would take on the task of getting you the email of each public information officer I'm happy to own that and get it to you within, I don't know, 2 weeks. So that whoever your people are, because every school has some version of a weekly communication with parents. And it's such an easy pipeline to parents that it's a shame that we're not getting there.
Yeah, because I mean, it was specifically done at your request, so, you know, that's a shame.
Well, we do also have a blog post that I wrote up and a book list and resource list that we could also push out in the future. And it's local organizations, it's Headspace, which I did find out has tons of space for parents on it. We're not as tight as we thought. We have tons of space for everyone. Support groups and more. So we could easily get that pushed out to local newsletters to the parents.
Is it geared towards the entire library, Santa Clara County library system, or is this a Campbell specific activity?
It's a more county. We can look, and I believe there's some specific for Campbell, but most of it is countywide because we wanted to reach the broadest audience possible. Yeah.
Yes, so I will own our little West Side Alliance, you know, and if that works, we can figure out how to help you expand. But for the meantime, I'm going to represent at least the West Side. So I will take that on. Can you share, I'm assuming you're on that list, can you share your email to, you know, in response to Diana's agenda or something like that?
Yeah.
Name an email and just remind me, this is who I should send all the district PIOs to.
Back in the Outlook
I
calendar.
think,
Do you get that? Because I don't get it.
If
I'm
not
not
Diana,
excited.
just let Diana know she has her email.
Okay. Okay.
Or we can coordinate, send it to us.
okay.
Okay.
We can be the clearinghouse.
How many people do you expect to come tonight?
Signups, I think we're about 10, which for our first in-person program since COVID is kind of exciting. So yeah, hopefully we get a good turnout, but yeah, and then the one online, we're expecting more. I didn't check that one
He
today.
said
but yeah.
28 this morning.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So if you could send that to Danielle now, if maybe you send it out to anybody who might want to come tonight.
And then
Yeah.
tomorrow. it's
And
a
then
Zoom.
tomorrow, this
It's-
room.
Yeah, so our issue is this is spring break week. So I'm not sure Marla's there. I will post to our Campbell, I think I can post to our Campbell Facebook page, I think. But if not, we can fix that. It's really Marla we want to be funneling this all through because she can put it out on Twitter, but I can put it out on something and tag the our Campbell Facebook page or our Campbell Twitter. I can do that.
Okay.
So we'll get you that.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, good.
And this is an item, just as a note, that in our last discussion, we were talking about business items for that. We said, let's keep this as a regular reoccurring item. So we'll keep putting this on every agenda. Just sometimes we'll have stuff to add, but it gives another opportunity to follow up.
I think that's a great idea.
I have a question, Liz. When we started talking about this last year with Sergio, there was a little bit of a discussion about how we could do some financial help potentially through the city. It would have to go through the council, the budget, whatever, but there was some level of discussion of the students can get 3 counseling sessions without contacting their parents, and that's part of the school, but parents don't have that same ability. And there was a discussion about whether some of is it the ARPA, the
The
CARES
ARPA funds.
what-
And I think I have to go back in my memory, but I believe we decided to move forward with the library as a free resource to everyone so that the city at this point didn't have to contribute funding. We didn't pursue it any more than that.
So I guess I'm bringing it up to say, would that be something that, because it's our budget cycle and we're looking at that kind of stuff right now. I know Serge and I both supported something like that to
Yeah.
help.
Council discussion.
Okay.
So maybe tonight, if you want to put that on the agenda, as an item tonight.
Is it doing it now or doing it wait till budget?
It would be a work plan item or a budget item. Which would it be, Brian?
Well, if you're just allocating funds, it would be in budget. If it's a significant, something that we're going to take on to plan for an event or do something that it would be a work plan items.
So I did.
I'm not sure that, I think we were talking about is trying to create some funding and maybe use expertise elsewhere to help kind of.
Yeah,
together.
the discussion,
It works on the
yes.
item itself.
Yeah,
The discussion was around this, having the ability to contribute to the school districts or to the actual schools for the parents.
So I would, so we have a study session at 6 o'clock, going over the work plans for staff in next year. And I'm just trying to think in terms of our priority. One of the tasks is ARPA funds and how to spend those. So maybe as a, it's one of those items that isn't specifically mentioned in the work plan. So it should.
There is something that says in there about the money though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's one, it isn't in the details.
No, it's, yeah, it's,
So you want to add it into the details, but we can talk about that later.
okay, just because that was where we had left it last
Okay.
year.
So good follow-up. Okay. All right. If there's no other comments on this at the moment,
Did we put this on our social media?
We did not.
Reference, cross
We did not. So we'll try to start coordinating, to be able to cross-reference. That was the point of having this discussion, that we all can leverage our contacts. And I think Danielle's point's well taken. The extent we can reach more audiences, we'll participate. So,
I sent an email to like your general office.
okay.
I didn't hear back, but next time, or I'll get the right person's email.
If there's anything like that, let Diana know directly.
Okay.
And she'll, or just email me directly.
Okay,
and put for publication.
okay.
Yeah, we had even talked about, how we go down our website, we have the boxes that are the categories. We had even talked about, does that show up as a topic or a category? I forget what all of them are.
And we don't have a rolling calendar of events on our webpage, which I think that
We used to have one.
we do. I don't know it.
And I was just gonna say, I assist Leticia with the social media for the city as a whole, and then I also do for our rec department. So if there's anything also, you're welcome to send an email to, and she approves it before I post anything. But Rebecca, you have my contact info. You're welcome to send stuff my way.
Okay, thanks, Lauren.
Good
Thanks.
conversation. Thank you. Okay, we'll then move on to an update on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
Another request from the district carried over from last year, Susan.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think what we were talking about is how do we coordinate better for the needs, both of the city and in the context of the communities that we were talking about through ARPA funds funding free Wi-Fi at the community center and lighting that up. School districts were talking about their challenges and making sure the whole community had access and identifying those challenge points and where we could help with that. And I don't know that we have definitive locations of where those weak spots are yet. That's what we're.
So I thought Cecil said he could do that fairly quickly.
With the community center.
The
But
community
I think-
center, so
yeah.
the community center's been ordered, the equipment's ordered, and that's coming, but identifying non-city property.
Yeah,
That the
Yeah, I
school
thought
needs
he's,
Wi-Fi.
I thought
help
he said he could do that pretty easily.
Well, it came down to antennas.
So going back a step at our last meeting, Cecil, I thought, said he could identify the black spots, whatever the right phrase is,
That is,
pretty easily.
I don't think it was as easy as simply just identified, so that conversation is still being had. And I think the school district had a few spots that were particularly of interest.
So did we get that?
That conversation started, but I don't have a conclusion to that for that update on this meeting, for the conclusion of that. So
Okay,
not as simple as we, Wi-Fi community center is moving forward. We did order that.
yeah, but this was beyond the.
But this
community
beyond that,
center.
but
This is-
the other thing I think we have to think about too is that, and we learned this from the community center Wi-Fi too, is that anytime there's a purchase of equipment, there is a great backlog in the manufacturing of some of the stuff. So
Yeah.
we're months away. Sometimes it even getting this. So
So let's back up if I may and confirm that there was an intent for the city, the library and the school districts to come up with a mapping of where Wi-Fi existed and where the problematic Wi-Fi areas were.
So it wasn't an effort to do free Wi-Fi citywide. What
No,
the
I
effort
know,
was to
I'm not
identify-
saying that.
Exactly, so I'm trying to just be a little bit more specific with regard to the student populations of the school district of where there was.
Opportunity to have Wi-Fi.
And that discussion was gonna happen, and then be based on that, is there something we can do to help with
Yes.
those facilities?
Yes.
And we don't know the answer to that second
So
question.
can we find time to get an answer for that?
Yeah, yes, and I want to leave this on a stand, so I won't lose track of that, so we'll keep this on your next agenda.
So in 2 months, we should have this
Should.
information.
You should.
Now, at the meeting that we had, that there was one gentleman on the Zoom, I forget what district he was from, Campbell.
Mhm.
And he made it sound like he knew where they needed it, and it was, they just didn't know where the pole to put the antenna on. Because the students didn't have cable was the issue, that they needed the antenna versus just Wi-Fi through cable, where people can afford it. So,
So
but I
I'm
thought he had zones.
Yes, but it's
You
not
were
just,
very
it's
good.
not identified as zone, but then identifying location where you can put that equipment. If there's no public facilities there.
Right.
What public facilities can we put it on a utility pole? Does it have to be on a roof?
So we knew all of that going in. The first step was to get a mapping of what existed and where the problem areas were. And from there, go to your point, is there anything available in a public? Right,
But the gentleman, what was his name?
I don't remember.
I remember his
Didn't-
name.
didn't
They,
know what-
they have, they know where the blind.
They know where they
Matter-
are.
Locating,
Yeah.
finding the facilities within those
Okay.
spots.
and we were gonna have
There was. gonna be-
Cecil
Correct.
talk to this guy.
Correct. And then not just that, but then determine where the best location, best opportunities for the actual facility. install.
Can we commit to the meeting in
Yeah,
2
I-
months to have that
absolutely.
done?
Absolutely.
Okay,
And at the last meeting, Richard and I were both present, I believe. And
Absolutely.
our district, our IT guy is Trevor Walker, and he would most definitely know within our boundaries where the pain points are, if you will, because he received grants to do some work to get Wi-Fi into those areas successfully. But as I like to remember, Campbell Elementary is just a small footprint. I mean, it does, the majority, to be honest, the majority of our students are in the city of San Jose addresses. So I think if we're going to partner with districts, you need to consider the other districts that overlap your city boundaries and get them involved too. Because I would think if you're going to come up with a solution like that, you should be looking at everybody.
okay. All right.
And I
So-
think wasn't Todd involved in? Because when Sergio and I presented up on the dais, then Todd, I'm pretty sure, said something about we could find locations or.
Well, so we're rolling out our 5G broadband, or we're not rolling out, we have a master license agreement for all the utility providers for
Has that been
5G.
finished? Last I knew, the
Well-
contracts hadn't been signed.
So the standards are also, no, it isn't finished, to answer your question, it's still dragging out, but there's some opportunity there, not necessarily for the private parties to fund it, but that as they're identifying those locations, we can piggyback sometimes on those locations too. For public without additional facilities, so that.
So the
that-
timing is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And may I ask, is the intent of the community center Wi-Fi to allow public access? Or is it for the classrooms, the facilities at the community center? Or is it going to be encouraged that you can get Wi-Fi if you need it and sit in our parking lot?
I don't know how, I know that the rooms are definitely a higher priority as far as making sure that those are all up to speed and usable, free Wi-Fi, unpassword protected kind of accessibility. How far that goes outside of it, I'm not sure. I know the field is a bit of a dead spot, and I don't know how far into the field they have gone. So I think once they light it up, we'll have a better understanding.
I think the intent is to light up the whole campus, not necessarily beyond the boundaries, but anywhere on that campus, it would be free, unpassword protected.
Okay.
Certainly there's filters, so you can't be doing illegal or immoral things.
Yeah,
But we would be free to anyone on that campus.
Yeah, again, just, I mean, I think if we can perfect a communication model, that I think that would be great, because that kind of information could be critical to families, so.
That's, that's why I'm coming back to. I thought we had talked about, when I said earlier, identifying a map of where things were. I thought that benefit of that was that the libraries have Wi-Fi's, and you were going to confirm that it's been taken down from there.
All the equipment's gone.
All of the equipment's gone from there. And if there's nothing at the community center from the
Yes, we
library
have
chamber.
it. Yes.
You do have it there, so that's available there. And then your other library on San Tomas Aquino, Saratoga,
San Jose, Keno, San Jose.
and San Jose. All of those have them. So I think we were trying to identify in some kind of a map, all the, I'm going to call them hotspots for the students to go to. So that's another thing that needs to be done. So when I was saying earlier, I was thinking more along that and finding it that way. So sorry to backtrack here a little bit, but Danielle, when your fellow Trevor was saying he knows where the dead spots are, it's Wi-Fi we're talking about, right? Not cable.
Wi-Fi, correct.
Wi-Fi, and it's for free Wi-Fi. So if a student wants to have Wi-Fi, they know where they can go. And some of the Wi-Fi, if it gets distributed around the city, might be available to them in their homes.
So the ones that we implemented during the pandemic shutdown and that we got the federal grants for and equipment for was intended to reach our students' homes. So I think the equipment, I'm such the wrong person to be telling you this. The equipment is, and it was primarily around Blackford and Sherman Oaks. So Cadillac Region and Blackford Elementary and Rosemary. So Rosemary, Sherman Oaks, Blackford. And I think we used our school sites for the equipment and tried to broadcast out to the surrounding apartments and homes. Our goal was to get it into their homes.
And it's still up and running, or is it gone?
No, it's still up and running. I'm fairly confident.
Is it funded to continue to run?
Can I cut back to you on that?
Yeah, so it fits into this big question.
Right.
Where I was, not having been part of the earlier conversations, I was thinking that we were looking to find a map that showed every place you could get Wi-Fi and identify where you couldn't, and then look at solutions for where you couldn't.
Right. And so I think as kind of part of Trevor's work back then, he's done that within our school district footprint.
Okay.
Because I know also during the pandemic, we took hotspots, whatnot. I mean, we distributed hotspots and we took buses out and put them in neighborhoods, did all those things. So where that currently stands with our kids back in school, I don't know, but I could, again, this is spring break week, but I could make a request of Trevor to kind of give me an update on, what within the footprint of the district, what's the Wi-Fi status?
So could you send Brian Trevor's email contact, and Brian can give it to our IT guy, Cecil?
Yeah.
And then that'll shook up the rest of us and just have the two of them talk.
Sure.
Is that okay, Brian?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Do you have my contact, Danielle?
I do. I know where to find you.
Yeah, I know you do. I didn't even have to ask.
All right, so we'll look forward to an update on that. Yes, this is April, May, June, and June. We'll look for an update on that in June. Maybe we can do a beta test over the summer for the students that are needing it over the summer and have it up and running something when the school starts again. That would be a nice situation to have.
Indeed.
Okay. Any more questions on that? Okay. All right, other business. Any issues or thoughts?
So I just wanted to say that I was grateful that I got actually to participate in the library strategic planning interview process this week. And what's really interesting is not that I didn't really think about our conversation about mental health, but we talked, the woman who interviewed me and I talked a little bit about how we were able to funnel mental health services to students with partnerships, community partnerships, but we have an umbrella that is the school district and school link services. And we have these partners and it's a little easy, and even families, but in general, our community doesn't necessarily have that same kind of coordinated effort when community members need help. So it's kind of nice to see that our library has kind of started to work in that environment to provide some services, make them more easily available to the community. So that's cool. But it was really, I was grateful to be able to participate in that and talk about our great city, because that was pretty cool. And she was from Madison. And so when I told her we had year-round farmers markets where we closed down the streets and you walked, she's like, oh, that would be so great. So, so that was really cool. And then I just want to remind you all, definitely partnering with the, the community in the cities. We are doing our 100th celebration at the end of the month.
Danielle, I know that we're partnering with you on some streetlight banners in our downtown for
cool.
time for to celebrate your recognized 100. And I think Natasha, are we doing some exhibits?
So yeah, Carrie Perkins, our museum supervisor, has been working with your teachers and things to coordinate exhibits. It's kind of what 100 years of education in Campbell looks like through their eyes. And so it's varying grades and different, what she's expecting to come from the different grade levels. She hasn't seen any of the work. So that'll be coming through and be put on display. And they're having their event in the Ainsley Gardens on the 30th. And then it sounds like the chamber is in the process of possibly doing a concert on the green afterwards as kind of an after celebration. So
yeah,
On April 30th.
I'm pretty sure there's 2 bands signed up and ready to roll. So there's definitely music that I know. One is a teacher in our district, her band, and then some headliner band. Neither of which I knew. So that tells you how old I am. But I think that's coming together. I've seen some of the previews of the videos that they've made and some of the projects that the students are working on. It's really cool. So yeah, so that's probably the big thing for us.
Neat.
Excellent.
I unfortunately won't be here.
Are we having anything at the council? You know, how in the beginning we have little presentations. Are we doing anything from the 100-year celebration?
I don't think we had something planned, but that's a good point. We probably could do something like that.
You want to speak to Paul about it?
Yeah, and maybe even have a little presentation boards or something that we could put out here. So now that City Hall's open. I don't know what Carrie has all.
they're going to be on display in the Ainsley House, in the carriage house. That's where the display will be for the exhibits.
So if you want to coordinate that with Paul.
Okay.
When's the actual anniversary date? April 30th? Well, your event's April 30th.
Yeah, I mean, it's the 100th year, so that's.
Yeah,
And
well, it's a whole year, so
Yeah,
just trying to, we would do it. It would be either April 19th or May 3rd.
okay.
We'll coordinate something with the mayor.
Yeah, and I got the sense that I got the museum announcement, and I got the sense that the displays were actually going to be there for a while. Actually, I'm surprised they're not up, because the way I remember reading it was this month. So, but maybe not. But I thought they were up, or it was, it was a museum setup that would be there for a while.
It will be, yeah.
It will be there.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it was after the 30th.
Yeah, the 30th, the unveiling of everything, and then it's going to be there through their like summer season and
Awesome.
and things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That, I could see how I would misread that.
Okay, that's exciting.
Very cool.
Good, good. Just out of curiosity, are you thinking of putting anything on the ballot in November?
I believe we are looking at a new bond measure. I believe that we're going to do a community survey soon. We talked about needing both a bond and a parcel tax, but did not want to do both. And the bond measure is a 55%er. And we have some room in our
App.
yeah, the cap max. So I believe, don't quote me on that, but I believe what we decided was after surveying the community to see the support level, what we would consider is an additional bond measure for November.
So we need the high school district here to see what they're planning, because the city may be planning something as well.
Okay.
So we want to make sure we have a cohesive approach if we're all going after money. Although I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we aren't going after money. We'll find we're just going after authorization authority. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that should be on the agenda, Brian, as a regular item. November bond, November ballot issues. The library isn't looking for anything. Okay. Lauren, anything from you?
Well, we are just, it's crazy that we're in April, and I know we just had on Saturday the Coffee and Politics event for the Youth Commission, and I believe you were there as one of the, both you two, so thank you so much for being there. I was out of town, so I couldn't stop by, but I heard it went really well, and so we're just gearing up for kind of wrapping up the end of the year. The Youth Commission is also working with Cupertino and Saratoga to put on an event together in May. That's kind of on wellness and, you know, just getting the teams engaged with each other. And for our department as a whole, we're really excited for this coming summer with all of our camps and swim lessons and classes and whatnot. So just really trying to get the word out there to all the community members who, you know, I think really looking forward to having a hopefully more normal summer this summer with all the opportunities that we're bringing back. So back to field trips and special events at our day camp, and just really excited for that.
It was interesting conversation around the table. We talked a lot about politics and the students wanting to know more and have more information about elections and things. So I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up on a work item list for some way to do that. That was a good conversation.
I don't think I got notice on that.
It would have been a while ago.
For what, Coffee and Politics? I think she reached out to, really
Everybody.
reached out to everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing the,
Yeah, it was quite a while ago that
Yeah.
it was set up, like 2-3 months ago.
yeah,
yeah, because I've been attending all of them so far. I
I know.
don't remember seeing the
Yeah.
email. But, you know, there's this list of junk and you're going like this, so it's
No.
easy to,
it would have come from
We were hard to
the
delete.
Rachi,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
tech specialist.
I don't remember seeing that.
So, but it was.
I
nicely
always
done.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed was that there were only women on the, so we need to work on getting some more diversity on the commission.
We do have a, yes, majority, all but one are women, a part of our committee this year. We do have quite a few, I believe, positions that are going to be open because we have people that are graduating or this is going to be their third term. So we're, Julie has already gotten out the information on applications, and I know interviews will be held in May. And so definitely looking to just, again, promote to try to get a wide variety of students from all the different schools.
It starts at 7th grade.
7th through 12th grade.
Oh,
A lot of girls applied.
It's less boys that happen to apply, just
Yeah.
because I've done the interviews for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, no,
More girls than apply.
I know.
And it is based on the interview, right? So it's hard, you can't look at like gender to balance things
No,
in the
no.
interview well either. So that plays a part in that too. So
But getting more boys to apply.
Yes.
would be a good-
When is the application deadline?
I can pull that up for you. Let me see, sorry, Peter. Then. Here we go, due May 8th. Yeah. And yeah, so we're looking for a great group of individuals, and you know, something I think that we've also found more teens who don't identify. So for us, we're just excited to have a great team of individuals join us for this next year.
And that actually, the transition was part of the discussion about elections, because there was, I think, 3 or 4 on Saturday that was going to be the first time they were voting.
Oh, very
And
exciting.
They wanted to understand. So that was neat. Ladies, library specialists, anything?
Just the library starting all of our in-person programming. I want to thank the city and Tasha especially for making that happen for us, giving us some space to do some programs. So we're going to have an exciting summer program as well, along with everything else that they're doing at the community center. So
Thank you.
yeah, we're excited. ESL classes are starting up in person weekly, and story time. It's great. Starting in a couple weeks. Yeah.
We just had someone call about English classes, so I was excited to get to share your program.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. I mean, we're having some paint nights during summer. We're going to have set up for adults and for teens. Teens specifically, they've requested sort of a hybrid. They appreciate, for those that can't drive and can't get to the library, appreciate having both online and in-person options. So lots of grab and go craft bags, lots of online programming and in-person programming.
Neat. Maybe the district, what do you call it? Your newsletter or something could have a link to the library newsletter or something.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to send a summary to Shelley and Richard, who aren't here. And I'm going to CC Marla and Trevor, since I'm going to be sharing their information. Figure I should tell them, but I'll make sure. But I'll make sure that that they're aware of what you all talked about, and that being able to get to student appropriate programming and parent easily is always nice. And I mean, like I said, the district sends a weekly newsletter, and each school sends a weekly newsletter. So that seems like an obvious place to put it.
And have a link to the community center programs too, because that's online now.
Yeah.
So that would be good to send. You want to make sure we do that? Okay. Good. Natasha, anything?
nope, just kind of what Lauren said, we're prepping for summer and making sure that everything's kind of moving forward in that direction. But it looks more, like she said, more like a normal summer with the enrollment so far. So.
And are you getting young people to do their roles, whatever you want to call it?
Yes, I signed quite a few today for our new applicants, new hires for our summer programs, and kind of getting all that. So I feel like we have what are we going to have, like 40 or 50 recruiters this summer?
We have, I believe, about 20 returners and about 30 that will be offering, if not they've already been offered positions. Actually, I want to give major kudos to the team, because I am on monthly calls with California Park and Recreation Society. I lead monthly Zoom calls, and we just had our topic last week on summer camp. And we were one of the very few cities that actually was feeling confident and good with the hiring. Most of the cities are really struggling to find anybody to work for them. So I was really proud of our team, and Tiffany and Julie led up those interviews and have done an excellent job with that.
And that's where I think too, at one of these meetings several months ago with the high school district here was a good connection, because as a parent of a Campbell Union High School student, I see it all the time, and I see the flyers that they're sending, and it's showing up in those weekly
Oh,
emails. And
great.
so for us, for lifeguards and summer recruitment and whatnot for jobs, it's not so much our programs, and the youth commission events are always in there too, but like for to have that connection for not just the parents, but even the kids, because they get them in their email inboxes too. So that was a good connection from one of these meetings, to have that regularly put in, have the right person to talk to.
Neat,
So,
neat.
And I'll just say, I think this was mentioned at our last meeting, but we are excited to have the leader in training program back this year, as well as junior lifeguards. And that is such an essential piece on how we recruit our hourly employees. So again, that information I'm happy to share, but we do have still spots open for those programs. And again, it's not going to guarantee a job, but I mean, most often than not, our leader in training or junior lifeguards end up working for us.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Well done. Susan, anything?
No, I think we covered everything. I guess I would just ask, is there anything else that we can try to help with?
I think maybe June, since it's the end of the school year, and I have the feeling that maybe all the school districts might be able to get to that one, that maybe we kind of plan out some agenda topics for the next school year and how we collaborate and unify some of the services or communication out, so that if we get all the right people in the room at the same time, that would be helpful.
So
I did reach out to Moreland, so they will definitely be here in June.
We'll put
Yeah.
a future communication,
Yeah,
just a discussion on coordinating communication,
that'd be great.
not necessarily the June agenda, but on a future.
Well, if we can try for the June agenda and see what happens, that'd be great. Thank you for that. Brian, any loose ends from you?
Nope, I think we're good. I think the youth, we're all budget right now. State legislation, we're really tracking, as Councilmember Gibbons knows, we're in the throes of tracking the initial state legislation as it's going through the system. And this year is going to be a strange year because of the transition in state districts and federal districts. And so everyone knows it's a fairly confusing process, and even final documents is hard to find online to find out what districts you're going to, because likely the district numbers have changed and the representatives in those new district numbers have changed. But even more confusing is that those districts in June are going to be effective for the federal primaries. And so you'll be voting, the voters will be voting for the new federal districts that they're in June. But your representatives at the state level won't become your new representatives till January, to add more confusion. So we're sort of participating in the new districts in June, but just for the federal primaries. And then in January, our new state and Senate assembly member and senator will be representing us.
Aren't there primaries for the Assembly and Senate in June?
That's a good question.
I think
There,
there may
I think
be.
there, I don't want to say that there probably is on top of the federal, so we may be voting, you'll be voting for those new districts, even though you won't have representatives.
And somebody just asked me yesterday when the new districts come into play. And I said, probably January.
So
I
the,
didn't think it was after the election itself. I thought it was January when.
but it's a lot of confusion, but the understanding that Angelique and I just have been researching leads us to believe that that we'll be voting primaries with the new districts.
So we lose Evan Lowe and gain Berman, Mark Berman, and then we lose Dave Cortese and get Josh Becker. And Becker, I don't know if he's ever even been to Campbell. It's a big change for us to lose both Assembly and Senate. It's a big deal.
So we're setting up meetings with all of those, right, the existing plus the new, sometime hopefully in the next couple of weeks as they ramp up. And so if there's issues, legislation that you're aware of or concerned about, let us know. I didn't see a lot of education related ones in there, or even library ones, but if we missed it, there's ones that are important to you, let us know so we can represent that.
Yeah, I know Richard's pretty active, and I know that he and Shelley have been reaching out to both old and new, because there is some pending legislation, both at the state and federal level. Things like, you know, free lunches for all is about to go away, and the federal government's talking about it or not. But definitely there are some, and just basic things like, please don't pass laws in the middle of June, early July when school starts in August, that kind of stuff.
Well, if there's areas where we can collaborate, because we do have an active legislative subcommittee of council
Okay.
and dedicated staff for that. So let us know
Okay.
if there's something we can get involved with.
So we have one meeting set up with Cortese next week. Or is it this week?
Friday.
This week.
I think Friday.
This week. But if you have anything you want us to speak to any of them about, don't hesitate.
Yeah, as you know, Cortese and Lowe are particularly Cortese is pretty aware of school district. That's where he started. So yeah, it is a big blow.
Okay, well, I think that covers us. We did some good conversations
Yeah.
today. Thank you all for participating,
Yes,
and look forward to seeing you in June.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.